I've been looking more and more for indie games or games that aren't AAA. They often pop up on my social media feeds, and one thing I've noticed is how much they've drawn me in to play them. That's what happened to me a few days ago when I came across Mohrta, a game that seemed simple at first until I saw that it had an RPG elements like upgrades, power-ups, and collectibles. This made me want to explore the world of indie games further and maybe start a tier list of these games, as we have done with the PS2 games. I don't have a large audience, but if you like this idea, please let me know in the comments and I'll do it. At the time of making this video, the game was released a few weeks ago, and I want to leave my review and experience here as I always do, so this is Mohrta. Hayward Generation 7, Project Living Dead. This is how the game introduces us to our character's main mission. We are a kind of robot supposedly from this Living Dead project, from this group called Hayward. And our goal is to kill another member of this first generation project since we are from the 7. His name is Avalon. We don't know why or who is he, but with a mission to accomplish, our mission begins in the village of Mohrta. And it doesn't take that long before we face our first enemy. Okay, until now I think you already guessed this, but Mohrta is a first-person game. But it's not your usual shooter. We start with our swords and a revolver, but our arsenal is just getting started. I'll get to that in a moment. Our character has several skills and techniques, in addition to being able to walk and jump, of course. We have a dash that allows us to move faster and dodge enemy attacks. And while we are in the middle of this dash, we take no damage from most of the attacks, if done correctly, of course. It's a bit like the role in Dark Souls and many other Souls-like games. In addition, we have a companion with us who lights up the darkest areas. The name is Van. The game calls it Organic Beast. We can actually activate it at any time during the game, and for a brief moment we can analyze our surroundings more closely. When the time is up, we just click again. Initially I thought it might become something that would not impact the game in any way and that it would eventually fall into oblivion. We see this happening a lot in a lot of other games. My favorite example is in Ratchet & Clank 2. During the parts where you play with Clank, you can control several robots that have a lot of ways of helping you progress through these stages, such as creating bridges and hitting key points. And there's this one situation where the game asks you to use one of them to lift some bricks and obstacles so you can pass. The funny part is that the tutorial is the first and last time you'll see it. But that's not the case here with Van, because as you'll see later, this game is so diverse that there are several parts where you really needed to use it. Still in Mohrta, we find a doll belonging to one of the victims that has been attacked in the village. And this doll has life and decides to stay with us. The healing doll, well, as the name suggests, it can heal us. It works exactly like a Dark Souls Estus Flask. We have refills and can use them to recover health. Throughout the worlds we have save points that not only let us save, but also recovers all our attributes, including the doll refills, of course. Once again, it's like the bonfire in Dark Souls games, and Souls-like. Well, I keep bringing up how this game resembles Dark Souls, but it's not on a negative way. I mean, despite being clearly inspired by various aspects of Souls-like, Mohrta manages to transform all of this into something with a lot of personality. And even though the basic idea is the same, the feeling is almost like something new. Oh, speaking of inspirations, I think I can call this game kind of a child of Dark Souls and Doom. In addition to the clear movements of the enemies being very Doom-like and the graphics, the weapon arsenal itself and its quantity are very reminiscent of the early Doom games. But it's not just visually that I think this game stands out. The entire gameplay seems like a mix between the new Doom games and the old ones, because obviously here it's not as limited, as simple as the early Doom games were. I love how the developer doesn't try to hide it. They put clearly like nostalgic effects for those who know what I'm talking about. Those little things like the flash on the ammunition when you pick it up, the loading screen goes down. Man, It's a vibe. Well, and speaking of weapons and our arsenal, obviously it doesn't end with just a revolver and a sword. There are more than 10 weapons to unlock, each one really different and suitable for certain occasions. Whether it's hand-to-hand combat, weapons more focused on long range, or close-ranged attacks, for waves of enemies or for single enemies. There's a lot of them, and I think it's perfect because a lot of games you just pick one weapon and you get that weapon until the end of the game. Not here. In addition to all this, each weapon has its own special ability. When activated, it performs its secondary attack. To be honest, not all weapons have a secondary attack that it's worthwhile or good enough to use. My favorite example is the Rail Bunker, a great weapon, but my main point, even though it's quite powerful, it consumes a lot of mana when you use her superpower, this second power that she has. That it's like a melee attack that honestly isn't very worthwhile, because if I'm using this weapon, it's because the enemy in front of me is probably quite strong, and a melee attack isn't very good. I mean, it depends, but will not be probably my choice of attack. So yeah, it's more worthwhile on other weapons that the special attack doesn't consume as much mana as this one does, and usually it's even better. And that's where our last piece of equipment, Mana Guards, comes in. It works like our healing doll, but with mana, which is basically used to perform these special attacks with each weapon. I found myself several times during the game not needing this item because all enemies, in addition to dropping bullets, also leave a mana point, so recharging is not that difficult to find, since the game has a lot of enemies. Unlike healing, but it's still quite useful in boss battles to use it sometimes, since we don't have enemies around us most of the time, and it ends up helping a lot on those moments to give that maximum mana recovery that can decide whether we win or not against a boss. It should be noted that although Mohrta is heavily based on Souls-like in many ways, it cannot be said that it's as difficult. It's also far from easy, but it's challenging enough without leaving you stuck anywhere or needing to watch a tutorial on how to take the easiest route, to pick this item first, go this world first. We do not have this here. Except for a boss at the end of the second world, the final boss of the second world. Oh my fucking god. I was losing my mind. Even now I have no idea how to get through that nightmare without cheating in some way. I didn't put any cheat codes, but hear me out. The boss is a giant machine that starts out just using its 4 weapons. It's like their buddies, which are annoying as hell, and they are already annoying enough because they have different attacks, and as soon as we take away the first part of its life, oh boy, things start to get surreal with robots coming to attack us and 500 other things happening. And it gets even worse somehow. I had to use a method that I'm not proud of, but it was the only solution to end my pain. I had tried several times and I couldn't even come close to succeeding. Like, I had to jump on this stuff here and shoot from here and pray that nobody hits me or anything. I don't know how to beat this boss properly. It's surreal, it's crazy. Oh yes, of course, we have bosses, otherwise this wouldn't be a Souls-like game. I mean, in terms of inspiration at least. I'll explain in a moment, but I think it's easier to understand if I explain Mohrta's level and world system first. So, after defeating the first boss, we are brought to this hub called Metro Nexus, where we find various characters of all kinds, and this is where the upgrade part comes in. Yeah, one of the best parts of the game. Throughout the game, there are 3 collectibles that are used to improve our skills. Dull Eyes to improve the number of times we can recover health without having to go to the save point to buy the doll. Man, I love the characters in this game. They are so different and full of life, especially those in Metro Nexus. The setting here is just incredible. The other item we need is crystallized mana. If we give this to the NPC, we can recover our mana more than once with the mana guards. These items can be found throughout the worlds and are usually hidden, just like the third item. But this one is also dropped by some enemies occasionally. Strange Ore is used to upgrade our weapons. Yeah, each weapon has an upgrade that will require this stone. It can be found in chests or by dismantling other weapons. Yes, we can dismantle a weapon forever with this NPC over here, who will give us 3 strange ores in exchange. But as the name goes, if you dismantle the weapon, you will not use it until the end of the game. It will broke, it's over. So you have to choose wisely. And then it's here in Metro Nexus that we find the starting point for all worlds and their areas. It works exactly like Demon Souls, with 5 levels and their 5 respective 3 areas. Each area has a boss, including the final boss. After defeating each boss, we unlock a new weapon, and in the final boss of each world, the Rune of the Realm. When we have all 5, we can open the portal to where Avalon is, so that we can finally defeat him. It's a simple way of putting the world map on the game. It's incredible, it's easy but not super simple. I just love it. I really have to talk about the worlds in this game. They are simply incredible. I love each one of them, and as incredible as it may seem, each one has mechanics with different approaches to exploration. Like, every fucking world in this game looks like a different game. It's surreal. I was shocked with some worlds over here because I was not expecting this type of gameplay differences, and all of what happens throughout the worlds is just, I was not expecting it. Okay, so the first one is the simplest. Worlds that clearly prepare us for what the rest of the game will be like, but the difficulty increases a lot in the second. Fuck you, final boss. Here everything is more narrow, more straight, more enemies, you are fucked. In addition, the enemies are faster and stronger. It's an area very focused on long-range attacks, almost like a war. The third world is one of my favorites because it's so different from anything I have ever seen in games, and really shows where this game shines the most, in its diversity. We start in this huge area that looks like an open world, and after collecting the items needed to advance, we enter this haunted house that has a whole system similar to Silent Hill, where you have to find keys, collect them, and use them on the respective colors of the doors to advance. It's super fun and generally scared me at some times because of the setting and the enemies. They are fast as fuck, they will not wait, they will not warn you. This has to be one of my favorite maps of all time on every game. It was just man, I don't have words. Play this game. This is definitely the highlight of the game for me. Everything feels different. There's so much care about everything. You really can see the way that the developers and the creator puts his fucking mind to this and his heart. Everything feels different, and there isn't a single moment where the game feels repetitive, whether it's the new weapons, the enemies with completely different approaches, or the mechanics introduced in only certain worlds, as each world is different from the next. There's this level that it's like a desert, that you have to go to this kind of party that is having, I don't know what the hell is happening. There's a lot of things going on, and you have to play the little games from each area to advance. It's just this on the same game that you have a Silent Hill parts and Doom and Dark Souls. It's just perfect. My godness, the graphics are like PlayStation 1 but super detailed and with a unique charm. Some of these characters are incredible to watch. It's so beautiful. Although the cutscenes are quite simple and sometimes even a little strange, with poorly placed cuts, or the moments and the timings are kinda odd, you can pass that and accept it since it's an indie game and everything else is perfect. So, but if I had to put one thing that it's kind of it's this one. Thank God this game isn't confusing, because the map, you can't see anything. I often didn't even know where my character was on the map. I often did not use the map because it generally needs improvement. It's not good, okay? Fortunately, Mohrta is a game with such a well-crafted world, and every corner is so memorable that even in worlds with a more repetitive design like the second one, there's always something that differentiates each area, so you are good for that. Throughout each world we always have this side quest with a random character who asks us to do something, go to a certain place, or simply interact with them whenever you see them. It's something that doesn't interrupt the main gameplay too much, and we often end up doing it without meaning to, or at least most of it. Well, at first it may seem basic and simple, or just random, since the whole point of side quests is to just do that, be a story distincted from the main one, to make us want to distance a little bit ourselves from the main goal, but honestly, there's no need for that here, since the game isn't so long that it requires a break from the story every now and then. But The biggest positive point of this side quest being super accessible is clearly because from the fact that we need to do them to get the true ending. I don't want to give too much of the game's story away, but it has several endings that decides to the outcome of your final battle after gathering all the runes from each world. You enter the portal and face everyone, or join him. Yeah, you have a lot of endings. Mohrta is one of the best games I've played in recent times, and probably this year. If you're looking for something different, you have to try Mohrta, man. Each world tells a story through the walls, the characters, the music. You just have to be there. Man, the music, oh man, how could I forget this? Both the sound effects and the soundtrack of this game are simply surreal. I could use some of them as background music while doing other things because they are so cozy. Others bring that feeling of action and dangerous, straight from the 80s games, but with a twist of their own, just like the game. I'm simply in love with this soundtrack and the sound effects. They are super satisfying. Each and every one of them, just like the game, they are so unique. I found super interesting that, just like the old games, after reaching the real ending, we get cheat codes where we can visit a museum with models of all enemies and allies, plus some cheat codes for flying and all weapons. That was a really cool small touch that didn't need to be there, but they put it. Well, and to kick off our indie games tier list, I'm gonna put Mohrta clearly in the amazing tier. I just wish the story was a little more on par with the rest of the game, and told in a different way sometimes. But don't let that stop you from trying out what was one of the best indie games I've played. Well guys, there's a lot of things to talk about this game, but I just want you to play. So this was Mohrta. Next time we will be back with another PlayStation 2 game, maybe, or with another indie game. What is certain is that we will be here to talk a little bit about it. So thank you for the support, and I'm Lito, and bye bye. See you guys. Yo, it's me, the final of the video as always. This is a part where I don't know what I'm saying without cuts, and since I'm not 100% American, I mean, what the fuck? I'm not American, I'm Portuguese. Probably I will give a lot of mistakes and stuff, more than the rest of the video. Sorry about that. I'm really good at English on my work, but somehow not here. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, I'm just here to appreciate and say thank you to everyone that watched my video, and be sure to subscribe and give me a like or something like that. I really appreciate it, and leave a comment so I can see that you guys are here. So yeah, that's it, Mohrta, one of the best games, one of the best indie games I ever played. And yeah, I hope you play it too. If you play, please tell me. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. See you on the next one. Peace.